Alright, it's nice to be here live from the MMB Radio Studios for the MMB Radio Podcast, where no topic is too big or too small. We talk about them all. And on the phone lines right now, I want to welcome in. She's a former hustler honey. You've seen her in all of your favorite DVDs and adult films. She's the 2016 Hustler Pet of the Year, Miss Kenna James. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
Awesome. I said hustler. It's Penthouse Pet of the Year, right?
It is Penthouse Pet of the Year.
Yeah, you know what it is? Because we're actually looking at your photos as we're doing the podcast, and it is a little bit distracting. You know what I mean? You're just like, you look at it and you just want to be like, the words that want to come out of your mouth are like, boobs. Boobs.
Boobs.
Who are we interviewing? Boobs.
What's your name again?
Boobs. Yes, exactly. So, Boobs, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thanks.
But as I mentioned, 2016 Penthouse Pet of the Year. That's a huge honor. Like,
it very much is.
I mean, when you first were told that you were going to be the Penthouse Pet of the Year, what was your initial reaction?
I almost screamed on the phone with the director of Penthouse.
You almost screamed to him, boobs.
I just almost screamed, and right after I hung up the phone, they're like, so, you're our Penthouse Pet of the Year, welcome to the family, and all this stuff, and after the minute I hung up on the phone and I made sure it was disconnected, I screamed with pure joy.
Oh, we've all enjoyed listening to you scream in other ways. So you announced 2016 Penthouse Pet of the Year, and what does that all consist of? Like, what do you do? Is it like Miss America? Do you go to like children's hospitals and like give away free porn DVDs or something, or like how's that work?
Somehow I think they'd frown on that, but I could always go and read the Penthouse letters. I mean, it's not technically giving away pornography, so I could go read to
if I was in the hospital, I'd be happy as hell if someone came by and was like, be like, yes, I'm terminally ill. Like, please keep coming back,
Dear Penthouse, I never thought it would happen to me.
Little Timmy, he Tiny Tim there with his broken leg is all healed now,
Imagine that.
Yeah, imagine that. He had a third leg that he did not know that just expanded. Yeah, so. What are the chores and duties of being a Penthouse Pet? I mean, it's a huge honor, so they must give you some kind of like job that you have to do, right?
It is. You're the brand ambassador for the year, so that means you go and you do shoots with them. You go to all the events all over the world. Like, I went to Budapest, I went to Germany, I went all over the place, just representing them, meeting fans, and I had an absolute blast. Doing it.
And you get frequent flyer miles out of it, so
yeah, no kidding.
Now, did you get to join the Mile High Club while you were traveling?
Unfortunately, I didn't get that many.
That sucks.
That's all right. I got another chance.
So you also are a hustler honey. Now, what's the difference between Penthouse Pet, hustler honey? Like, what is all that?
Well, just different companies. So, you've got Hustler, which is their own thing. And for Hustler Honey, you just get the magazine cover and you get your centerfold. And Penthouse, when you get the month, the pet of the month, you just get your, they pay you for the shoot and put you on the cover, put you in the centerfold. And it's real pretty, real nice. And then you get in the running. And I don't believe Hustler has a Honey of the Year or anything like that. That I know of. I could be wrong. I have not done my research on that topic.
So I was looking through your Instagram and I saw you post something not too long ago. You did like 10 covers in 2015. So you're not like a stranger to doing magazine covers and stuff like that.
Nope. I have 12.
You got 12 this year?
I have 12 total.
Oh, 12 total. I was gonna say,
yeah,
shit, you got 12 this year? Like, goddamn, what are you on? Like Sports Illustrated? Like. Good Housekeeping. Like, she's on the Oprah magazine. It's like she's everywhere. So you're no stranger to that. But I mean, it's got to be pretty, fulfilling inside to know that you're being selected to do all these covers, right?
Oh, it's great. It is a wonderful feeling. Like, there's nothing better for like a confidence booster than going into my closet and looking at my display of my little magazines.
See, now I would, if I were you, I'd be like, there'd be no better pleasure than just like looking in the mirror and looking at myself and being like, boobs, So.
Boobs are great. I love my boobs.
That's
it took me a long time to love them, but I love them now.
And everybody else loves them too. So what size are they? Because they're so perfect. They're like beautiful boobs.
I am now at 34C. They grew recently, so I'm very happy with them.
Yeah, I mean they're like, you could tell like if they're really like good boobs. Like you see some saggy boobs and like little itty bitty boobs.
It looks like a deflated balloon.
Yeah.
With wrinkles in it.
Like yours are just so like they're not overly, like big, they're not too small. They're just right,
Right, exactly.
So, let's we'll talk a little bit about the boobs too, because we want to get the whole full breakdown. Like what are the full measurements that you have going here?
I got a 34 up in my top. My waist is a 25. My hips are 30. My hips are a 35 too. Yeah. So 34, 25, 35. Almost perfect.
Yeah, I mean it's just like wow, it's just like perfectly symmetrical there. I mean that was one of the.
It's perfect by whoever says that's perfect standards. I'm not going to say that is the perfect measurements because I've seen women that are not those measurements that are perfect.
Believe me, all the guys that are jerking off through your videos and your pictures, you are perfect measurements for them. They're not picky, believe me.
You would be amazed.
But speaking of fans, so we got a lot of questions from fans tonight, but I got my own questions. Like I always like to just dig deep in and find out how you got started in the business. I mean, I kind of know, but for the people out there who don't know, I mean, did you kind of go to the stereotypical route into the business, or how did it all come about?
I actually started out as a stripper in Evansville, Indiana, when I was 18. I did that for about a year, and then, a little bit less than a year actually, and I got tired of doing it, and so I started webcamming. I figured out webcamming, and I thought it was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. It was like, you mean I get to sit in my bed and this over the internet and get paid for it? Like, this is the best job ever. And then I had my ex-agent contact me and was like, you have this perfect look, you're gorgeous, we love you, and we want you to do porn pretty much. And I was a little skeptical, but I went, okay, sure. And then actually came back 2 days later and said, look, don't buy my ticket. I don't know if this is right for me. I got to think about it some more. And he comes back and he goes, well, I already sent your images out, and Penthouse said they wanted to make you a pet of the month. And I'm like, okay, sure, I'll give it a try then. Why not?
That's all you need to be here.
And so that's what started the career, and here I am now. I love every minute of it.
Now, growing up, you grew up in Indiana, or?
Mm-hmm. Grew up right in the Midwest.
All right. Now, was it a small town, quiet area, or?
Very small.
Okay.
I lived on the outskirts of Evansville, so it was about a half an hour drive to Evansville, but my town had less than 16,000 people in it.
Okay, so when you became known in the business, like I'm sure a lot of people found out really quickly then.
Yeah, they did.
And what was the reaction from like people in the town, like friends, family, neighbors?
My family is actually really supportive. I have to say, they're really wonderful about it. Some of them, they don't really like it sometimes, but they go, we understand, we get it. So whatever makes you happy, as long as you're safe and happy, we're happy for you. Mm-hmm. So I have to say, I'm really happy that my family is supportive. Most of my friends are supportive. I honestly don't have a lot of friends that aren't in the industry. I was always kind of that loner kid. So,
So growing up, were you like very like shy, outgoing? Were you like promiscuous type? Like, kind of let us in on what was Kenna like as a child.
I was a very shy child, and I didn't have many friends. In school, I always sat in the library at lunch, and I would read my books, or I would talk to my teachers, and I had maybe 2 friends, like close friends, going through high school, and after graduation, we slipped apart, and I didn't really have any friends from childhood still.
Now, what got you interested in porn? I mean, into stripping, and was it just something that was like seemed like easy money, or who planted that seed?
It was funny. I moved out of my parents' house when I was 17, and I went and stayed with with my grandparents till I turned 18. And I went and stayed with a friend who I thought was a really good friend. It turns out it wasn't all I thought it was going to be. So I ended up moving out, and I was still in school. I was still in high school, and I had found my own apartment, and I had to figure out a way to live. And I was driving home one night, and I was like, what am I going to do? I mean, I can't really just go to McDonald's and pay all my bills and everything. Mm-hmm. And I passed the sign for the strip club, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try it.
So it was either stripping or sell drugs. So you picked it seemed like you picked a better deal out of that one.
I think so. I think so.
But I mean, Trap Queen, Kenna James would be, really, really cool too,
It would be a neat story.
It would, I mean, I would still have you on the podcast. You know what I mean? Rather than saying boobs, I'd be like crack. Crack. Hey. So you started stripping, and like when you first got in there, like what were your feelings when you met like the people ownership of it? Were you kind of nervous, or because I mean, this is probably the first time you were like naked in front of the public, right?
Yeah. Oh my God. I remember my auditioning night. I was lucky. I didn't go in on like a Thursday or a Friday to audition. I went in on a Sunday night. So there was nobody there except like 2 dancers.
A couple people after church, and then, after Sunday.
I'll tell you what. One of my best nights stripping was actually a Sunday, and I was the only girl there. I did really, really good.
Well, it's because you go to church in the morning, you do family time in the afternoon, you do, Sunday dinner, and then you go look at boobs, So,
exactly. What better way to end a Sunday?
It's the holiest day of the week. You gotta love it.
The holiest.
So you went in and you spoke to the guy who did this audition on Sunday, and how did that go?
I was so incredibly nervous, and he goes, and it was the only club I've ever had to audition at. And I danced at a few different ones, but he goes, okay, we're going to have you audition. He goes, do you have anything to wear up there? And I'm like, I don't. So I borrowed something from one of the other girls. And
what do you really need to wear? You're going to be taking it off anyway. That's what I would have said.
Yeah, I don't know. Apparently I had to show him how it would strip out. I don't know. So I got up there, and these 2 girls came out and sat and watched me, and they were the only 2 watching other than the manager. And I don't really remember much of it. I think I was just a bundle of nerves up there. Apparently I did really good. I got the job. But that's how it started. And I remember that first weekend was so nerve-wracking. I remember my first lap dance ever. It was a catastrophe. That felt so bad for that poor guy. I danced by the door the whole time. Didn't even come near him. It was just...
Is there a reason why you're dry humping the fire extinguisher and not over here grinding on me?
Yeah, I had no idea. Like, they didn't tell me. So I talked to the manager. I'm like, is there any way I could get one of the girls to give me a dance to show me what to do? And then after that, it was good. I was good. But that guy never got another lap dance. He would tip me on stage, but never got another dance.
See, that would be my approach when I go into the strip club. I'd be like, hey, can I have one of the girls just give me a lap dance so I can see what it's like? And see how I'm supposed to do it? Oh, no, we don't do freebies? Oh, okay.
Oh, shoot.
So, I mean, you told me before we did the podcast, because little did the people know, I've been, like, scouting Kenna for, like, I don't know, almost a year now. And I know when you were, like, the Penthouse Pet, they had you, like, on a short leash, get it? Pet, short leash. So they wouldn't, like, there was a lot of things, like, you couldn't do, couldn't say, couldn't talk to this person. But leading up to this, you were like, make sure you got some really good questions for me. So I was like, all right, let me think of some good questions, some stuff that's going to really make you think. And you're probably not going to know the answers to some of these. So, like, my first real hard-hitting question is, so you did this audition on a Sunday night. Do you remember the song that you came out to?
Oh, hell. You know what? I do remember the song I came out to.
You could say any song, and I wouldn't know if you were lying anyway, so.
No, because this was my opening song literally every night the entire time I was there. He played this song for me every time. It was Fall Out Boy. My songs know what you did in the dark.
Really? Okay, that's different, Maybe that should have been the approach for doing the lap dances. If you did it more in the dark, then the guy wouldn't know if you were really, like, by the door or, You know, if somebody was just sweeping the floor, coming by, just nudging them with like the broom handle or something, like, oh, whoa, this one comes with a little something extra. Got to tip her good. So, all right, okay. So
my own song.
Now, so you get into the porn business, and you just jump right in doing the Penthouse thing. And up to this point, are you like thinking like, oh my god, I should probably like reconsider this, but I've already like in too deep now, so I can't back out? Like were you like contemplating staying in, coming out of it?
I knew the minute that I did that shoot, I was in. I was sucked in for life. I loved it. It was some of the best times. I was so nervous, on top of being nervous, you know, because it's Penthouse. Mm-hmm. And when you first get in, you're just like, oh my god, I'm sitting here for Penthouse magazine. This is going in a magazine. But I had a blast. And then my first girl shoot was with Danny Daniels. And I remember I was just sitting there looking at her. And I'd been with girls in my private life. But I was like, what if I'm not as good as they said I was? Oh my god, what if I suck? What if I'm awful? What if I'm horrible? And she comes up and she goes, you're going to be fine. She goes, just relax. And once we started, it was great. It was fun. I had just the best time of my life.
Now, I did my research and I did my homework because you told me to make sure I do my homework here. So for the people who are diehard fans out there, they probably know this story. But for a lot of people that are listening to this and are, you know, learning about you for the first time other than boobs, explain to us your first experience with a girl.
Oh my gosh. My first experience with a girl. It was a sleepover. Mm-hmm. Cliche, I know. That's how they all start. But it was a sleepover, and I was very young.
Single
very
digits?
Young. Huh?
Single digits? Yes.
Single digits. So she was about 3 years older than I was. So she knew a little more about what was happening than I did. But I was all game. My parents were in their bedroom, which was 2 rooms from mine. And we just had to be quiet, but it was amazing. I fell in love instantly. It wasn't until 17 that I had sex with a guy for the first time. So
from the age of 9 all the way up to 17, you were like strictly into girls?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I liked guys, but girls were my thing.
So, I mean, it's kind of weird to talk about it because, I mean, you're both underage. But if you were both of legal age, how did this all happen? Like, I mean, obviously was she the aggressor in this? Like, she...
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So
oh, yeah.
She proposed the idea to you.
It was actually one of those deals that she was like, hey, I've got something I want to try. If you're not in for it, I'm just going to go home.
Oh, so she gave you that ultimatum.
But, I mean, she didn't have to. She could have just proposed it, and I'd have been like, okay. But she felt the need to add that last little bit. So there was no opposing on my end. I was all for it.
So she went down on you, or like, how did this happen?
She went down on me and kind of taught me what she knew.
How much could you know at 12, though? Like,
you don't really know much.
Like, how far advanced could this little girl be? You know, like
it wasn't much. I have to say, it wasn't the best experience I've ever had. So,
I mean, she's like seducing you at 12, and it's just like, wait, hold up, where the hell did you learn this at? You know, first off, how the hell did you decide that this is what you want to do? 2, how do you know what you're doing? Like, you obviously been snooping in your parents' like porn stash, because there's no way that you at 12 years old that you just pop this idea in your head like, I'm definitely gonna eat this chick out.
Yeah. You know, I'd looked at my parents' things. My dad had a few magazines that I'd seen before that, and, you know, walking in on your parents and stuff like that, but you never really thought about it, especially at 9. I mean, that's the last thing on your mind.
Yeah. So
you're still worried about Barbies and G.I. Joes. And
yeah, so it wasn't the best experience, but after that, how often were you hooking up with girls?
I mean, I wasn't like a little slut or anything, but it was.
It's okay if you were. You know, we're not here to judge anybody on MMB Radio. Yeah. We actually kind of prefer if you were slutty. You know, it kind of gets more listeners and more downloads. But you know, it's all good.
I probably, let's see, I had one girlfriend, and I told myself I would never do that again.
So like you legit were like dating her.
Yeah, but she was psychotic, and it didn't last long.
Hey, spoiler alert, most chicks are psychotic, you know?
Well, I decided never to date another one.
So, like, what? All right, so this is an open, like, relationship? Like, your parents knew you were dating a chick? Or is this kind of like, we're dating, but we're not telling nobody we're dating?
We were dating, but not telling anybody. I mean, our friends knew, but my father was open-minded. My mother, not so much. She's okay with it now. She knows, and we've had talks since I've been an adult, and I told her I didn't care if she had a problem with it, pretty much. So she's cool with it now.
So it's like the circle of life. This girl gave you the ultimatum. She's like, look, this is what I want to do, and if you don't like it, I'm just going home. And then in full circle, you tell your mom, this is what I did. If you don't like it, I'm just going to go home. So,
exactly.
Yeah. It's a gift that keeps on giving. You know?
Exactly.
So she wasn't as open-minded to it, and
yeah, but she never. I think I finally eventually told her about my girlfriend, like last year. Well, she's like, you didn't tell me back then. I'm like, I couldn't tell you back then. I'm like, you're crazy.
I was a minor. I was afraid that I would be put in foster care or something, like, I don't know. Some weird.
You would have locked me in the basement.
Yeah,
okay?
Exactly. So, we would have been having a totally different podcast right now.
You know, exactly.
It would be like the first 48 hours here. You know, like. So you've been hooking up with these girls, and then 17, a boy comes along, and you're like, okay, time to take the plunge on the pogo stick. How does that happen?
We were dating for probably 6-7 months, and he was a sweetheart, and we were both virgins. We were both virgins, because people technically don't consider you a virgin if you had sex with a girl. So I was a boy-girl virgin, and we were playing around one night and just kind of teasing each other, and decided that was the night.
And was it so much different than what you had been used to, or did you have like this idea in your head, like this is what it's going to be like?
Well, I mean, I had watched some porn by that point, so I kind of had an idea of what the basic concept was, but nonetheless, it was still very different than what I was used to.
I mean, obviously, it can't be that hard to learn and figure out if this girl at 12 was learning how to, go down on chicks, so.
Exactly.
There wasn't a huge learning curve. It's like, look.
No, but I mean, it was a really good experience, though. I know so many people that go, my first experience was awful, and mine was really good.
Okay, so you're in the business now, and you're doing your first girl scenes, and what types of scenes do you enjoy the most? Some fans have tweeted, anyone know, what do you enjoy doing the most as far as scene-wise?
I enjoy really soft, sensual, romantic type scenes. I love the passion. I like feeling a connection with the person. And so the more sensual it is, the more passion there is. It's just really amazing. Those are my favorite.
So, one of the fans, because like I said, I got a lot of fans that tweeted in. Like, I have to say, when I mentioned that you were going to be on the podcast, and you like retweeted it that you were going to be on the podcast, my timeline blew the fuck up. It was like, it was like a firestorm of tweets, and so apparently, like from what people tell me, they're like, oh, she's a good interviewer. She does a lot of interviews. So I'm hoping that I'm asking a lot of questions that are like first for you, and that are first for some of these other people. But
you definitely are.
Yeah. Well, one questions one guy asked. Let me see. K Harvey 1084.
K Harvey.
Yes. Would you ever consider dating a fan and see where it went? Now, do you like, as far as dating, being in the business? I have interviewed tons of adult film stars, and they say, it's not always the easiest thing to date someone, because at first everybody seems like they're really cool with it. Like, it's awesome. Like, hey, I'm dating a porn star. Like, it's fucking awesome. Rock out my cock out. But then it's like it slowly goes downhill after that. So, what are your thoughts on dating and fans?
Honestly, I don't date right now at all. One, I just don't have the time for it. I barely have time for me and my cats. So dating is not an option for me at the moment. I think it would be really hard to date, especially outside of the industry. Basically because, like you said, everybody's really cool with it in the beginning, and they're like, yeah, I'm dating a porn star, but it comes down to the point that they start really getting jealous because they don't differentiate between sex and love. And, I mean, like, for me, it's just a job. I enjoy my job, but at the end of the day, it's still a business. And I come home, and if I had somebody, that's my time for them. But, it would be really hard to date because I would never know 100% if they're there for me or if it's because I'm a porn star and because I'm a semi-famous kind of person. You know what I mean? I just feel like it would be very difficult.
Now, do they recognize you out in public? Like, do people come up to you and be like, hey, I know you from somewhere? Or, like, how does that work?
I have had that happen. Some people are like, I've had a few people that were like really open. They're like, I've seen your porn and it's amazing. Other people walk up and they're like, you look familiar. Do you work at such and such place? I'm like, no, but if you watch porn. And they're like, no, not me. I'm like, well, that's the only reason I look familiar.
Now, do you find that some people are like bullshitting you when they try to come at you? Like, there's some people that are just very open and blunt about it and say, hey, like, I love your porn. But then you think some of these people that are like, oh, you look really familiar. Do you work at like the local Starbucks? Like, can you kind of sense that they're bullshitting you?
Yeah, sometimes. But sometimes they're like sincere. Like, they really do know my face, but they're just not 100% sure where they've seen me. It's like, this is great.
I don't know. My boyfriend says you look really familiar, but he won't tell me where he knows you from. There's a reason why he's not telling you.
Yeah, you won't be too happy if I tell you why he knows me.
Now, I have to admit, like, looking like at your little Skype picture here, like, you are so beautiful. Like, your face is just like, it's just like, I don't know how to say this. Like, I'm not trying to be offensive to anybody else out there who does porn or anything. Like, you don't look like your stereotypical, like, porn star. Like, and I said, and that's not to be offensive to anybody or anything like that, but, like, you really just look like a normal person. You're not all, like, make-upped up to the point where you look like phony or fake.
Right.
But what do people tell you that they think is your best feature?
A lot of people, they like my ass, they love my legs, they like my eyes, they like my face, they obviously like my boobs and my vagina. They say those are great features.
It's a tight race between boobs and vagina here, Flip a coin and either one will work for me,
But a few of my favorite features, I love my eyes, I've always loved my legs, and I love my butt. My butt because it surprises people. My jeans aren't like really form-fit. I don't wear leggings, I don't wear yoga pants, I don't wear any of that stuff unless I'm like working out. And then I wear short little yoga shorts. But nobody ever knows what I look like until I like peel them off and they're like, holy shit.
Like, you were hiding all that under there.
I'm like, yeah, you don't know what's under there. Don't judge.
Now, one of the things that, like, I always ask people, because I always like to hear, like, their answers to this, if there's anything that you could change about yourself, what would it be and why?
My middle toe.
Okay.
Like my second toe.
Okay.
It bugs me because it's one of those that's really long. And it's like, it curves off weird. And I've actually found out there is a surgery to fix it, which I think I'm actually going to get because it can cause like hammer toe and painfulness, and don't want any of that later on. So, but my middle toe is my answer to that question.
That is definitely a first. I never have heard anybody say that, but that's totally, a first for me. Um, so a couple more questions from fans here. So like one of the questions we always get asked, and I always ask this on podcasts, to the point where it's like it doesn't even have to be a fan question, but like what makes you orgasm? What gets you off? Like what does a guy or a girl have to do to really kind of get you to that point?
I love when people talk dirty to me, and I
Mhm.
love clit stimulation. A combination of that, and I'm off to the races.
So if you're like a ventriloquist or something, like you're like licking it and talking at the same time, like how does that
That'd
work?
be, I don't know. I think I'd be really, like, really impressed. Like, I don't know if I could even focus on what I'm like, how are you doing that?
Ancient Chinese secret, can't tell you. Yeah.
It's like a recorder by my head.
You know, it's definitely something I'm gonna look into now because like you just sparked my interest in this. I'm like, hey, I could do something totally different that nobody else is doing. You know, that's my way into the business. You know what I mean? So
There you go. Find a niche.
yeah, that's what you got to do for guys. You know, a lot of people ask that question. They say, well, you know, how do guys get into the business? And I always say, you know, well, I always felt like it was easier for women to get into the business. But like, what if someone, a guy or a girl, was looking to get into the business? What would your advice be to them?
If you're going to get into the business, and for guys, I'm not really sure because I'm obviously not on that side of it. So, I mean, for guys,
Wait,
I
hold
feel
up. You're not Ken James?
I'm not
Ah,
Ken James.
fuck. I thought I was interviewing Ken James here.
Oh, well, shit. What are we
Damn.
doing still talking then?
Yeah, exactly. But as far as women getting into the business, like,
If you're a woman and you want to get into the business, first thing, and I learned this the hard way, I did not love myself when I got into the industry. Like, I still had some issues to work through. You have to love who you are. You have to be confident with who you are. You have to be comfortable. And if you are a prude and you are scared to show yourself, don't do it. It is the worst job in the world for you. Worst job in the world, because everybody's going to see everything you got. And then some.
and there's really no going back from that. You know,
It's very hard to. I mean, I say that, but there are a lot of people that have done porn and they move on and have regular lives afterwards. You know.
like I've seen so many people who, and not to judge anybody, but there's a lot of people that I've seen who've been in the business, who've gotten out of the business, who've gotten back in the business, who've gotten back out of the business, and like it's like they try to suppress that part of their life, like they just totally do not acknowledge that like even happened, and like
Yeah.
it's.
I don't think that is a good thing, because that's where, and then a lot of those people come back and they're like, well, the industry it's messed up and this is what's with it and they're not good people, blah, blah, blah. That's where you get a lot of your stereotypical stuff from, is I feel like those people that try to suppress it and try to pretend it never happened. You know, they're kind of negative about it for whatever reason, you know, if they had a bad experience or whatever. I mean, honestly, in my opinion, the industry is the best thing that's ever happened to me. I love it.
I mean,
and
you get to travel the world and, you know, see different places that, you know, how many people get to say that they've done that, you know?
Right. And I mean, you get to meet all of these amazing people. Like my fans, I love my fans. I adore them, and I couldn't do this without them. You know, obviously.
Yeah, and I can speak for experience, like just from just communicating with you over the last year, trying to get you to be on the podcast and everything. Like you've totally been like no attitude, totally chill, you know. And I've had bad experiences. I've had people who have been on the podcast that were totally like lame, like just no personality whatsoever. And you could kind of tell, like, all right, this is probably not the field for them, you know.
Right.
But they're in it already, so it's just like you just kind of just roll with the punches at that point.
Yeah, and the problem is so many girls, I think when the girls get into too young, they have suddenly all this money and they suddenly have this ego. You know, people blow their heads up and they're like, oh, you're so gorgeous, and that very well may be. But they start developing a complex, like a diva complex, and they become nightmares to deal with sometimes. Not saying I've really had any run-ins with them. I can't really say that I have. You know, most everybody I've met is really cool, but it's a lot of the younger girls that have developed it, and it's sad to see.
I could scroll through my Twitter timeline now and probably find 10 people who are acting like divas right now. And not to mention names of people, but there's people out there that are in the business, in the industry, who are like tweeting people. They're like, send me this for a reply, like they want money for like a reply to a tweet, and it's just like, really? Like, it's just like, no, I'm not gonna send you a PayPal for a fucking follow or a retweet, or you know what I mean? It's just like, but then it shows like people like you who are successful because you are so fan friendly, and yeah, it's just a kudos to you.
Well, your fans are the people that support you. The fans are the reason you can do what you do. I mean, without them, nobody would book you. Nobody would hire you. Mm-hmm. And that's what people tend to forget. They think they're above their fans, and that's not true at all. I'm no better than my fans. I'm just a girl that happens to eat pussy on film.
That needs to be like a shirt or a hat, you know? It just says on there, I'm just a girl that eats pussy on film, you know? And then sell it on, you know, definitely you can sell that. Like, see, now I feel like I'm turning into one of the divas on the timeline. You know what I mean? Like, I'm making custom hats and shirts now to say I just eat pussy on film, you know? But
no, it just means you're good marketing.
Yeah.
Good marketing.
Hey, it's ironically enough, that's the field I like was like in commercial art and everything. So I guess that's where my mind is always, you know, thinking, how can I make $1 out of this? But
we all do it.
But I feel like though, like you said, some of these towns, they feel like they're above their fans, and the downside of that is it's all like there's always like backlash, and there's always like you know, consequences to all these things, and then you wonder why people steal porn.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, it's like, okay, talent star X, Y, and Z were real, like, bitches and cunts to me on Twitter, but at the end of the day, they're still fucking hot, so I'm gonna go Google and watch their shit for free. You know what I mean? But it's just like, wow, Kenna was really sweet. She answered my tweets. You know what I mean? Like, she responded. Like, I'm gonna repay her. I'm gonna go buy her DVDs. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And if you guys want to buy my content, you go to xart.com/Kenna. There's my promotion for the podcast.
Got to get that cheap plug in there, you know?
Well, I am now the contract model for xart.com, so I got to plug that, and that's my affiliate link, so that I really do get money for people signing up on that site. So
I tell people all the time, I was like, that's just my train of thought. I'm just like, well, if you're nice to your fans, they'll buy your shit. If you're a douchebag to your fans, they're going to go steal your shit.
Right. Which, guys, pay for your porn. Keeps us alive.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
Keeps us in business.
It allows me to do podcasts with you. You know what I mean? So,
exactly. It allows me to interact with you guys.
So what type of projects do you have coming up? What can you speak on?
I've got some exciting new scenes coming up, and I can't tell premise or names or any of that, but I do have some exciting stuff coming up. Some really cool, different type of shoots that I'm very, 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 very excited for. Got more feature dancing coming up. I'll actually be in Fargo, North Dakota, if you're near there. I will be at the Northern on the April 21st and 22nd. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great. Going to have a blast. I actually get people who like country music up there, so it's going to be even more fun.
Are you a big country music fan, or?
I grew up in the Midwest. My grandparents took me to every rodeo when I was younger. So
I did see a photo floating around somewhere where it was just you in cowboy boots, like literally just cowboy boots on.
I love cowboy boots. They're my favorite shoes. I wear them. I'm wearing them right now, actually, while I'm walking around.
Just cowboy boots and nothing else. That works for me. You know what I mean? Get you a nice little Stetson to wear.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Get you all saddled up.
You do need a new hat. Actually, I need to go buy one.
We can make that happen. We'll get you a cowboy hat. You know what I mean? Now, I knew you were just out here not too long ago in the Philly area. But what are some of the cities that you enjoy visiting? As being from the Midwest, you know, people stereotype it's kind of hokey out there. But
you know what's bad is that hokey stereotype is kind of true. But we're all great, fun-loving people, and we're very polite to each other, and we'll do anything to help a neighbor. Like I loved growing up there. I honestly, if I could still live there, I would. I loved it. I just hate winter. I hate snow and ice. I hate the cold.
Okay, so that's what I was gonna ask. Like, what cities do you enjoy visiting? Like, what cities do you love to be?
Let's see. I had a great time when I was down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I had a blast. Tampa, Florida. I noticed I'm saying a lot of warm places. I like, let's see, where was I? I was somewhere in Alabama, and I can't remember where I was, but I had a great time there. Let's see, I don't like Los Angeles. I'm just going to throw that out there. I know it's like the cities I like. I really do not like Los Angeles. Me and so many of the people out there clash, and they're just not. Southern hospitality is a real thing, people. It is real, and I miss it. But and there's too many drivers. There's too many people. I can't deal with. I have never had road rage so bad in my life. However, San Diego is really nice. I like San Diego a lot. I like the zoo.
But San Diego, I'll fuck with you. You guys are cool.
I like you, San Diego.
You know?
Do your thing. Keep doing what you're doing.
Stay classy, San Diego.
Stay classy.
So, you're doing a lot of traveling. Where have you not been that you were like on my map of places I want to go? Because I mean, you traveled the world with Penthouse, so you've seen a lot of places, been to a lot of places. What's one place that you're like, I really want to travel there?
I have 3.
Okay.
I have London. Mm-hmm. I have Australia. Anywhere in Australia. I really don't care where. I just want to go. And then I have Ireland.
Okay. And what's the intrigue of all of these 3 places?
They're new. They're exciting. They're the premise of a lot of my books that I read.
Now, what kind of books do you read?
A little bit of everything. I like everything from fiction to biographies to, I mean, right now looking at my shelf, I've got the Steve Jobs biography. I've got a book called Lady Midnight, which is part of a Shadowhunter series. I have a Twisted Fairy Tale. I have the Walt Disney biography. Mm-hmm. Those are all just sitting next to each other.
Now, is this what you like to do in your free time? Is like doing a lot of reading, or?
I love to read. I love to listen to music. And when it's warm, I love to go hiking and camping and anything outdoorsy. I'm a very outdoorsy person.
Okay. Now, what kind of music are you listening to?
Depends on my mood. Depends on the day. It could be rock, could be country, could be pop, could be classical.
Is there a favorite artist that you have?
I have so many, just because I like so many different genres and stuff. It's really hard to pinpoint just one.
Okay. What was the last song that you were listening to today that you can remember singing along to?
Shape of You by Ed Sheeran. That was the last thing on my Top Hits Pandora station.
Okay. Not bad. So, couple more questions we got from fans here and I apologize to all the fans who sent in questions, like totally blew up my Twitter.
Oh, no, not at all. No need to apologize. I love it.
So, we'll try to get through most of these here. Celebrity crushes. Do you have any celebrity crushes?
Mila Kunis is my girl, and Ryan Reynolds or Chris Pratt are my guys.
Now, Ryan Reynolds is like, do you like them, like you want to be with them sexually, or?
Both. Mentally and sexually, because they are just amazing creatures.
Okay. Right.
I think. Just from how I see how they interact with people, and yeah, I like them.
Very awesome. So, perfect date for you. What would be the
perfect date? Mm-hmm. Okay, so perfect date would be take me to a restaurant, a really nice, it doesn't even have to be a really nice one, just something that has outdoor seating, that has a lovely view, whether it be a beach or it's like a foresty area or something really pretty, and then take me for a walk in it. Like, after dinner, take me for a walk on the beach, or take me through the little wooded area or anything like that, and then just be really sweet, be a gentleman or a gentle lady, whichever gender it is.
Whatever bathroom you decide to use, whatever you identify yourself as, you know.
Just be a sweet person and make me laugh. That's it.
Now, is this the type of people you're attracted to? You know,
yes, okay. I am 100% personality. Well, not 100%. Nobody's 100% personality, but I love people's personalities. You could be the most gorgeous person in the world and be a total bitch, and you will instantly be ugly to me. But, I mean, if you come at me and you're just this really sweet, genuine person who really just loves life and, you know, make me laugh nonstop, hey, if there's a connection, there's a connection.
Now, like, as you say, you can't be 100% personality. Like, what attracts you physically? Like, it's, you know, obviously it's why we have apps like Tinder, you know, where people,
Right.
it's your first natural reaction, you see someone. What is something that you see? You're just like, oh, I really love a guy who is this, or I really love a girl that's that.
On guys and girls alike, I love people's eyes. I love their expressions. Hair is a big thing to me. I don't understand. And guys, if you are listening, one thing I don't understand is a man bun, or when you shave half of your head, or the beard trend. I really don't get the beard trend either. It's a weird, like, Duck Dynasty deal, and I'm not 100% on that. But I like a well-groomed person. I love their eyes, especially when they light up when they talk. Like I said, I'm very personality-driven. I like smiles. I like how people get excited when they talk. Like, if I'm really passionate about something, my arms are flailing. I am just 90 to nothing. It really excites me about people like that. And, of course, I mean, you've got a certain level of attractiveness.
Now, another fan, he tweets in and he says, if you ever had, name and talk about a bad experience that you may have had in the business.
I honestly can't say I've had a bad experience in the business. I mean, nothing comes to mind.
Is there anything that you've been approached about doing that you were totally against doing or did not feel comfortable with?
Not really. I mean, you know, they make ask, you know, like before I did Boy Girl, before I did my first one, people were like, hey, would you want to do this? And I'm like, you know, right now I'm really not comfortable with that. You know, it's not what I'm doing. And they're like, hey, we totally get it. No worries. No problem. You know, no one's ever made me feel uncomfortable. You know, they may ask for certain things, but I'm just like, oh, no thanks. And they're like, cool, no problem. Have a good day.
Now, what do you think is the biggest misconception about the adult business?
That we are dirty people who love to do nothing but fuck, and it is not true, people. It is not true. I'm the most boring person outside of porn. Everybody thinks my life is glamorous, and I lived in a model house, and we had lingerie sleepover fights, and it does not happen. We're all sitting around in sweatpants and hoodies watching Netflix, eating food.
But if it's Netflix and chill, it could end up being a good time.
It could, but it never was.
It's just straight Netflix. There's no chilling afterwards.
We Netflixed and the chill was going to bed.
Yeah, the chill part was me, you know, going night-night.
Yeah, so. I got my Chinese food and went to bed. That was what I did.
Now, what do you still want to do in the business?
I've always had a fantasy, and it's something I've never done. I actually just did one of them. I've never had a boy-girl threesome. I've never had two guys at once. So eventually I'll probably do that just to fulfill it, but I think I'm going to wait a little bit. But something I definitely have always wanted to do. I just had for the very first time, a boy-girl. And it was amazing. It's on Colette.com if you want to find it.
Another plug in there.
Hey, you get them in where you can. That one wasn't as obvious.
So, now where do you see yourself at in the next 5-10 years? Do you have any like short-term or long-term goals?
Eventually I'll go back to school. You know, hopefully within the next year or two I can start doing that. You know, when I don't want to say when I calm down, but I can at least start. I want to be a veterinarian. That's always been my dream. I love animals with a passion. I have 5 cats at the moment. 2 of them are in the room with me currently. But I definitely just want to continue with my career and continue to build and grow and make awesome stuff for people to see.
Now, if you weren't doing porn, what would you be doing for a living? Would you be a veterinarian, or is that what you would want to do?
I think I'd still want to do that, but I don't know how I'd be paying school loans. I'm going to fall. Sorry, I tripped over a cord.
I was going to say, I hope you didn't step on a cat. you know?
Nope, I just tripped over a cord. It got wrapped around my boot. I took a step forward and almost took my light down with me.
We don't need it. We don't need any casualties here on the podcast.
That'd be an interesting podcast, however. Fall down the stairs or something.
Like, all we hear is sirens and stuff, and I'm like, so that's going to end our podcast.
So that's the end of the podcast for today.
And unfortunately, it's the end of Kenna, too. Yeah. End of the podcast and the end of Kenna, you know? So, so you would be definitely doing something with animals then.
Yeah, I definitely think so. That's always been the thing. But can't say I know what I would do work-wise if I didn't do this. I can't imagine any other job.
All right, couple more questions I got here, and before we let you get out of here, one that always everybody says, what's your favorite position?
My favorite position is missionary, actually.
Really? Most people always say doggy. Why missionary?
Yeah. Like I said, I'm a very passionate person, so I like the connection.
You want to look in their eyes and look into their face.
Exactly. I love looking at their face. I like seeing their reactions because their reactions get me off. I am a people pleaser. So if you're getting off, I'm getting off. We're great.
Now, what if they had like a really like goofy face, it's like they're ready to like, you know, climax and everything? Would you just start busting out laughing?
Probably not. I'd probably just close my eyes.
Like,
unless they didn't catch it in time, then I probably would laugh.
You're like, oh, I can't look at him, can't look at him, can't look at him. Oh, gonna make me laugh.
Just like
no.
lean my head back or like pull him down.
Oh man! All right, so another fan, I get some really weird questions sometimes, and I like to pick the really weird ones and everything. And it's funny because we've had guests on who are into this stuff, but a fan says, "Are you into any kind of wet play?"
Wet play.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say I am.
Okay. Would you be open to that or no?
I honestly have never thought about that once. I would have to get back to you on that one.
See, like me, I would totally be like, no, nobody's pissing on me, nobody's shitting
I
on me.
mean, I would probably say no. It just kind of took me a little off guard. I would probably say no, never, because I don't know that I could let someone physically urinate or defecate on me.
So that guy, I won't even mention his Twitter handle because I don't want people to blow him up like, you know, judging him or anything.
No, we don't want anybody judged.
But you know who you are. You know you asked the question, so there is your answer to that.
I don't think I could do that.
All right. Next question. And like I said, you got some really like creative fans out there. So they've obviously have read a lot of your interviews or listened to other podcasts or radio shows that you've done. So they're really coming out with some like really interesting questions.
Good. This is why I love them.
If you had one day, like they said, like tomorrow, like you were going to die. Okay, you only had one day left in your life to live. What would you be doing?
You know, it's going to sound really funny, but if I had one day left, I would probably spend that day in bed eating the worst foods possible for me.
And then the next day they said, oh, sorry, we mixed your records up with somebody else.
Probably, and then I'd be like, God damn it,
and you
now
just
I have to
gained
go
like
work out
40
twice as
pounds.
hard. And then I'm like, now I'm screwed because I'm going to get fat after I just literally ate the worst. I mean, it would be like chocolate chip cookies stuffed into brownies topped with Oreos and, oh my God, all the pasta in the world. I love pasta. It is my weakness. But
it's funny you talk about that because one of the fans did ask, they said, are you into cooking?
I love to cook.
You love to cook, okay.
I love to cook. I made a 4-pound meatloaf one day. I didn't quite mean to make it that big, but I did.
And just for yourself?
Yeah. I ended up giving most of it away to family members going, hey, do you guys want some meatloaf that I made?
Oh, man. Awesome. That is so awesome. So, let me see. What's another good one I have here? Like I said, these have to be veteran fans because these are like some of the most unique questions that I've ever gotten. And I'm like, really? Like nobody's ever asked these questions before. So, like here's one here. This one's a little weird. Oh, well, I guess this one's not too weird, but, they want to know, how did you come up with the name Kenna James?
Well, Kenna is actually Kenna's my name.
Okay.
It's my great grandmother's name.
Okay.
James just sounded cool with it.
No argument here, you know.
Yeah, I just thought it sounded good together. I was like, hey, James, perfect.
You know my name for you, Boobs. You know,
Boobs.
Boobs James.
Have a feeling that's a lot of people's name for me.
Hey, Boobs, what's up? You know.
Hey, Boobs, and I'd answer. I'd be like, hey, what's up? I answered to just about anything.
So, so I said all these fans are hitting up on Twitter, and everybody does everything on social media and websites. So go ahead and promote where you're at online so that people can cyber stalk you.
All right, guys, you ready for this? Get a pen, get some paper. I'll give you a second. All right, that's enough. Now, you can find me on Twitter at Kenna James 21. I'm on Instagram at Kenna James X-rated. You can find my exclusive boy-girl videos and my upcoming content at x-art.com/Kenna. You can, let's see, I do cam occasionally. I'm on my free cams. Just look up Kenna James. I'm there. I think that's it. I think that's everything I got right now. If I'm missing anything, just go to my Twitter and I'll tell you all about it.
All right, there you go. There you have it. And then one person, he says, and I don't even know if this is even legit or true. He wants to know, what is your deal with Star Wars?
I love Star Wars. I have an R2-D2 unit. He's sitting in my room right now with me.
Okay, so like I said, this obviously is a fan because he's like, ask her about Star Wars. And I'm like, what do you want me to ask her?
I love Star Wars. I'm very passionate about it. I have a Slave Leia costume that I dance with that's all bedazzled and rhinestoned up, and it's gorgeous, and I love it. But yes, I have my own R2-D2 unit.
Okay, so the guy that wanted to hear her talk about Star Wars, there you have it. There you have it about Star Wars. So, is there anything else you want the fans to know before you get out of here?
I love you guys. You rock. Don't stop doing what you're doing, and thank you for supporting me throughout the past 2.5 years.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. It was really cool and an honor to finally have you on the podcast. I'm a huge fan. Much success to you, and hopefully we get to see and hear more things from you real soon.
I certainly hope so.
All right, you have a great evening. You
too.
So that's pretty much it. I will load it up on the website, and then I'll send out a link to you, and then you can just retweet it and, go crazy with it.
Perfect.
All right, and then let me know when you're going to be back in Philly again, because like I said, I definitely want to come out and, show my love and support.
See, I'll be in Pittsburgh in December, but that's not really Philly.
Yeah.
But I will try to figure out where I'll be.
That's like saying I live in St. Louis, but I'll be in Kansas City.
Yeah, pretty much. I just really thought about that. I'm like, wait, that's not that close together. Hold on a second.
Same state, but kind of on the other side.
Yeah, it's like a 4 or 6 hour drive.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I like you, but I don't like you that much.
No, I'm not saying you're not worth the 4 to 6 hour drive. You know what I mean? But just know, if I'm driving 4 to 6 hours, I'm gonna be in there for a really long lap dance, and it better not be with the door. You better actually come over and dance on me if I'm gonna be making that long of a trip. That's like a mini flight to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, because we drove from Philly, and then we crossed all the way to Pittsburgh, and it's like, dear God, it's a long drive.
It is. People don't realize it, but I'm like, it really is when you stop and think about it. But,
well, people look on the map, and I tell them, I drove across Missouri, and they're like, that's not that far. I'm like,
it's only an inch on the map. Like, how long could an inch take?
I'm like, can I smack you now, or would you like me to wait?
You could smack me any day. I'm totally down for spankings, So, but no, it was really cool to have you on, and definitely stay in touch with me. Like I said, if you're going to be out in the area, if there's anything you need me to promote on my website, even if it's not in my area, I'm totally down for the cause to help you out.
Awesome. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem, babe. You have a great evening.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Hi, my name is Kenna James, and you're listening to Mixmaster B on MMB